Welcome back. We are here for the Between Dancing on Strings, episode 7. So, just as a quick lead in from last time, we needed to have Marybelle, since it was your vice, either stumble upon a clue or invite Val to ask you about your past from the vulnerable move that you had done together before we stopped.
I think let's stumble upon a clue since we're right at the beginning of a session.
Okay? You can totally do it for mean times, or you can do it for Shoreditch Slugger.
Well, considering I just got in a fight at Bout Club, I think Shoreditch would be a lot of fun.
Okay.
And Val
Yeah.
was at Shoreditch. Maybe Prince Rupert the cat will find us a clue.
Mm. Do you want a few minutes to figure that out?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Because we had gone from dawn, entering into a new day. The King in Shadows, Act 1, in which the curtains rise and our cast come to the slow realization that they are stuck in a tragedy, and that the performance of a mysterious play is heralding the incursion of another world upon our own. A round of applause is heard as the curtains rise. Everyone claps. Scene 1. It is day. The set of Hargrave House is bare except for a single door and a lounge sofa. Our cast is fretting about. They move upstage as a table appears laden with tea and... None of you are certain what just happened. As far as you all know, you went to bed. It was a restless night, and when you awoke this morning, all your actions felt strangely scripted. The feeling persisted throughout the early morning until you all sat down for tea. Each of you experienced a vivid nightmare in which you stood before a tall figure wreathed in shadows. Describe one horrific, vulnerable, or terrifying experience you had within the dream as you auditioned for a place in the king's royal court.
I think Val um, experienced themselves coming before the king to audition and playing their role, a serious role, and imbuing it with as much gravitas and emotion as possible. And subsequently, the king just summarily ordered them executed. Dream logic. No, there was no reason given, just arbitrary authority wielded.
Marybelle's dream started in the middle. It was a dark stage lit by a single bright spotlight in which Marybelle stood, and she wasn't speaking. She doesn't know enough about plays. They don't know enough about plays to really. No, in this case, it's she. She is feeling. She's got a different hair, different clothes. She feels different, and she's moving her arms, and she can see that it is skin, not mechanical movement, but biological, physiological movement. And she's entranced by the movement of her own arms and then the movement of her own legs. She tosses her hair back and forth, and everything feels so fluid. But as she moves, her limbs become stiffer and bulkier. They turn back into whatever contraption they are made out of and fall down limply at her sides. Her legs, stiff as well, stop dancing and moving, and she falls backwards, completely unable to move, still seeing out of sightless glass eyes, but unable to do anything about it. And that's when she hears the applause.
Daymond would be center stage in front of a cauldron that should be bubbling, but none of the dry ice has been inserted, going over the monologue from Macbeth. The play has yet to receive the moniker of the Scottish play. Not enough damage has happened. Going over the lines of the witch's toil, trouble, cauldron, burn, and bubble. And then as he finishes the audition, it sort of smash cuts to him standing in front of a board of parts and tracing his finger down each line of who's getting what part. And you just hear the king laughing in the back as Daymond gets to his own name. Church leader, Daymond Gray.
And as Kemuel performs their audition for the king, filled with pomp and pride and circumstance, pealing laughter begins to break out, but not joyous, a derisive, cutting laugh. And as that laughter gets louder and louder, it's as though a weight is being brought down on their shoulders, and Kemuel's knees start to buckle as they are forced to kneel and bow at the foot of the throne.
Looking further into the matter, it appears you are not alone. A strange madness plagues London. Rumors describe mass delusions, hysteria, and disorientation among peoples of all classes. Two individuals, artist Hypatia Quint and theater critic Larkin Creel, were both admitted to Bethlem Royal Hospital recently, following bouts of distress. Prior to his admittance to Bedlam, Larkin published a scathing review of a piece of experimental theater titled The King in Shadows. The review is unforgiving in its criticisms, but it's clear that Larkin felt drawn, perhaps obsessed, to see the play again. However, the production doesn't stay in one place for long. Part of the play's allure is its sudden appearance at a new venue every few weeks. Those who wish to see must seek it for themselves. The play was last performed in the basement of Ranelagh Chapel in Sloane Square, just a stone's throw from Hargrave House. If you can find the play, maybe watching it can provide some insight into what's going on. Questions and opportunities. What signs precede a performance of the play, and where will it appear next? A complexity 2. Discover the location of the new venue, and I'll give some locations. The hunters may watch a performance during any following night phase while this threat is active. Afterwards, unlock the next question. And this does have a mask associated with it, the mask of dissociation, and it also comes with a time limit. 4 night phases to resolve this. Otherwise, the occluded king gains a permanent foothold in London and takes a particular malicious interest in the hunters. So, you have your first question to figure out. And I will put all this into the character keeper, but now you have 3 active threats on the board. What would you like to do for day phase?
Just remind me, where are we with questions for mean times?
You got plenty of clues. You have, with mean times, you have the choice between the complexity 4 and the
So we didn't answer
complexity
one
6.
yet, right?
Yes. The only one that you've answered is about which of the James Allardyces belongs to this time period, which is, I believe you answered the pensioner. So. But you have the choice of what did the voyage of the HMS Whippet discover and what went wrong on the voyage. So you resolve the threat by destroying the source of the anomaly and breaking the strange temporal effects for a complexity 4. Or, for a more complex 6, what did Dr. Fisher learn from the material discovered on the HMS Whippet, and what power does it hold? Resolve the threat by containing the temporal anomaly so the material can be removed safely for storage or research, and a hunter may take the source of the anomaly as a reward, if you choose that one. Okay. And the Shoreditch Slugger, you have 3 clues. You can answer what is the source of the Shoreditch Slugger's superhuman strength? That's a complexity 2. Or you can try to start answering what is the Shoreditch Slugger's weakness? And that's a complexity 6. So.
I can add another clue to that batch of Shoreditch Slugger clues.
Okay.
I think as Marybelle and Val are talking, they notice Prince Rupert pawing at Val's coat pocket that is hanging up. And I think Prince Rupert pulls out a piece of paper. It is a very, how do I put this delicately? Pornographic love letter. It's not necessarily addressed to Val, but it's not either. We won't worry about it until, answer question time. But definitely would have been slipped into Val's pocket at the bout.
Probably while Val's coat was hung up while they were fighting. I'm impressed with their fighting prowess, perhaps.
Go ahead and put that into the clues for Shoreditch Slugger.
Question for Rob. Is one of Val's vows like a chastity vow?
It is not.
Okay.
No.
I was just like, oh wait, did I just introduce something that could be a real problem for Val? Because I wouldn't regret it or take it back, but it'd be interesting if I did.
I mean, one of the masks was Val with someone, so
Yeah.
I don't think that's a problem.
Wahaha.
Honesty and not recoiling before my enemy, in addition to defending the crown.
Okay.
Oh, vows.
Okie doke. All right. So I ask each one of you in turn, where or what are you doing for this particular day phase? Now that you have 3 active threats on the board.
I would like to go check out the theater. I imagine there's another bout club happening at some point, but I'll go to that after. That's more of a nighttime thing.
Yeah, and I was thinking if we want to wrap mean times, we need to do that in the night phase. We probably have enough clues, I feel like.
Do you want to answer a question now? I mean, it might help.
We
There
did
are a
have
lot of clues.
Yeah.
We did have a pretty big discussion about it last time. What happened about that?
Nothing conclusive.
Right.
Right. Oh yeah, we talked about it and then we decided we wanted a couple more clues just to make it.
Yes.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Okay, so just like night phase, do you want to discuss the answer a question, pick a question and answer it before you get to what you're doing for day? That's fine. I mean, if you want to do that.
We could discuss that over breakfast, perhaps.
There we go. So, in looking upon the clues, does anybody have a working theory to include at least 4 clues for the one or 6 clues for the other? You know?
So the theory I kind of laid out last time was that Dr. Fisher sent Allardyce to the Whippet to take the piece of star metal aboard in order to get it to a particular place on a particular date. So that's bringing in the star metal and the calendar with the date marked in 5 days' time.
It can also include the scientific discovery and the previously undiscovered island, if that undiscovered island is the location.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Calendar.
So then there was a
discovery.
mutiny that prevented the mission from getting there on time. So that's the mutiny clue.
Okay.
So that kind of blew the entire plan. Now, the significant discovery is some kind of time manipulation, we think, and that also ties into the sextant with the strange symbols on it because it's not for navigating in a 2-dimensional plane upon the surface of the Earth, right? It's for something else, some other kind of navigation.
And then if that's the case, the chronometer could be
Yes.
Allardyce's, who took it through the anomaly, and so it's running backwards.
Right, yeah.
And hear me out. Allardyce's father, a figure that he's been looking for, is the person that sent Fisher on this investigation.
Mhm.
And that is the letter from a lost family member. It's not in Allardyce's possession, it's in Fisher's possession from Allardyce's father.
Oh.
Whoa. Whoa. Love it.
Yeah, that island could actually even be where
They were
Daymond
trying to get to.
Yeah, right? Where Daymond said young Allardyce had to seek out his father as well.
So
6, 7,
like
8.
maybe his father had gone somewhere and this was them trying to get him back to,
so
to tell them about what he discovered or whatever.
So then, I'd say in order to resolve the threat by containing it, someone has to jump off of the observatory roof at night, holding the fragment of star metal, which is where Fisher failed. He didn't have the metal on him when he jumped. If we jump off into that same portal that Daymond found himself in with the star metal, it will take us to the island, and then we figure out a way to get back with Allardyce's father.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Now we have to roll.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to roll? It should be Daymond and Val.
Yeah,
one
we split the
die
die.
each.
Right, let me grab a die. I'm ready when you are.
Yep, I got the hopefully lucky die.
Go for it.
Ooh, not bad.
I got 5.
4 on my end.
And we go +2, so that's an 11.
Okay. Alrighty. On an 11, you completely succeed. So this will work. So the goal is to contain the anomaly, to remove the material safely for storage or research, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So he learned that the material will take him to another dimension.
Or transport him
through
across the
time.
earth.
Mm,
Through time and space.
Mm-hmm.
well, maybe it takes me through time, and because the earth moves underneath him, he comes out in a different space, in a different place, right? If you time it just right.
Yep.
Now we're
Okay.
getting into the real weeds of science fiction here.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And what power does it hold? Okay. So basically, you're trying to get to this particular island in this liminal space, and then you're going to try to bring back Allardyce's father. Is that what you're going to try to do?
Yes. Through a comedy of errors is going to be younger than the real Allardyce because of
Mhm.
time wibbledy wobbledy.
Time wibbly wobbly. I like it. I mean, you can't resolve it until night phase, so this should be
No.
hilarious. So now that you've kind of got that down, what would you like to do for day phase? Holy crap. Amazing.
I would like to accompany Marybelle to the theatre. Well, I guess we have to find where the play is going to be held.
For the new Bout Club meeting, or are you talking about the theater where the King in Shadows play was?
Yes. Yes. Oh, we're going to the previous nights. Yeah.
Yeah, the theater where the King in Shadows play was. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's that's Roundley Chapel. So Roundley Chapel in Sloane Square. Okay. Kemuel?
They would like to get out into somewhere out into London society, maybe seeking out some contacts to see if any of the high or low of London have heard tell of this play, uh, or perhaps saw a performance.
Okay. And Daymond.
I guess that leaves Daymond going to the insane asylum to visit the theater critics who've gone mad.
Bethlem.
Yes.
Okay. So basically you're going to go visit Larkin Creel. And I
Yes.
believe Hypatia also went there as well. Okay. Fun, fun, fun. All right. So let's take a look here. Let's go ahead and start with Marybelle and Val. Give me a second. Get back into that. All right. So Roundley Chapel. Carriage, walking, stone's throw away, so you could probably walk. It's fine. Do you want to say anything to each other on the way, or are we right at Ranley?
I think we see Val come. See, they go to change after breakfast, and they come down in a suit, but so with a long, rich, royal purple coat that is almost has a hint of the cloak about it, and a hat with a feather.
Marybelle's wearing the dress that Daymond made.
I think Val says to Marybelle, find yourself the recipient of unusual looks from passers-by when you're moving around the city?
Yes. Is there a reason you are asking, or were you just curious?
I suppose I was hinting at the possibility that you might wish to dress in a manner that disguises your form a little more. Not for the cause of modesty, I would never suggest such a thing, but just to avoid unwanted attention.
I'm not understanding. Mr. Gray and Kemuel both say that it is important to be who you are and not someone else. Why would I
Certainly
want to
that
try
is
to be someone else?
certainly that is true among friends, but when one is investigating unusual matters, never mind, Marybelle. Forget that I ever said anything.
Is this because of the strange letter that you received?
No.
You did
Although,
seem quite surprised when you read it.
curious, you might say, as to who it could have been, but left it in my pocket and why they didn't simply approach me more directly.
Perhaps they too were ashamed of who they are, like you suggest I should be.
I did not mean to suggest you should be ashamed, Marybelle.
Ah.
Just that there are people in the world who may pay the wrong kind of attention to you. I apologize if I caused any offense.
I do not think it's possible to offend me, but I accept your apology nonetheless. Shall we go to the theater?
I would like nothing more.
Awkward.
Brownlie Chapel is actually under renovations. You see a lot of paint cans and scaffolding around. The outside din of passerbys when you go in, but the basement itself, where the play had been held, it's dimly lit, and it contains only a shoddy wooden stage and a canvas backdrop. Paint the scene, and this is for everyone. This place has been touched by madness, but some elements of it almost seem too mundane. What are they?
Down on the stage, the scrim curtain is down, and the way the light is shining on stage right now, you can sort of see behind it strange shapes moving back and forth, strange noises coming from those shapes. The stage lights flicker back on, and you see that it's just construction workers fixing behind the stage. Nothing strange, just the sounds of construction.
I think we see similar effect of the light where a violent looking splatter is along one wall on the side of the stage that looks like blood until a light is applied to it and we see that it's actually not even red, it's green paint that someone spilled during the redecoration for the play.
Hear the whining pops of almost a creature trying to claw its way through a portal. A magical fizz that can be heard. And then, Crossing our view is one of those construction workers from the stage, shaking his head, and he just twists a gas lantern that's just a little bit loose, lighting it up just a little bit more. And the sound dissipates back into that background hiss of a gas lamp.
And there's a strange smell, very strong, almost enchanting. Kind of leads throughout the interior. What is that smell? It's not noxious. It's just rich and velvety. And as we follow it down, we can see the back of one of the workmen seated on a bench, and he's dipping coarse bread into this rich, thick soup, enjoying his lunch.
Very cool. Yeah. And these are the things that you see and smell as you come down here. Doesn't seem like much, does it? What do you want to do?
I think Val will immediately kind of spring up on the stage and start to poke about in the wings, looking for maybe any papers, a member of the cast has left their copy of their lines behind or something, because that's exactly the kind of place somebody might have scrawled a note saying, oh, this is where we need to be tomorrow. That kind of thing. That's at the top of their mind, but that might not be what they find.
Marybelle is going to sit in the audience near the back to try and get an understanding of what the audience would have seen the night before. Look around, see if anybody left anything, or if there's anything that would be noticeable from that vantage point that you wouldn't see from the stage.
You are both welcome to make information moves. Val with reason, and Marybelle. Are you using any mechanical things, or is this kind of like just looking around and observing? So it would be reason as well.
Yeah, I think I'm just looking around observing.
Okay, so 2d6 plus your reasons.
Yeah, I don't have anything that can help. You double twos, I rolled a 4. I have my reason is 0.
I rolled a 12.
No!
Oh no!
No!
Oh, I guess it's a 13 with my my reason, but I got my little deer heads. Thanks, trophy dice.
So wait, Val failed. Val failed, and Marybelle got a 13. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. All right. Coming back to you. Let's go over to Kemuel. Where do you think you wander off to, Kemuel? To the high, the low?
Yeah, maybe they wander out with maybe even Ms. Helmley is accompanying them.
Okay.
Kind of out maybe to a cafe or some sort of salon. They're wearing a sort of chiffon and lace dress. Very diaphanous. You can see Kemuel's form underneath, but they were very taken with the celebrant at the mass they attended with Mr. Gray. And so over that, they have a kappa, one of those gold embroidered liturgical capes fastened across the chest and open down the front. And they are, as they walk, reading from the Bible that they were given, perambulating towards this cafe or salon to perhaps enjoy high tea or something like that.
Hattie has put back her veil. I mean, it's perfectly fine if you'd like to, view upon her, but she doesn't like to do that for anybody else, you know. So she just kind of like, stays close to you if you will allow it, and she will like whisper to you, "I do admire your ability to not care if they look at you and admire you and, well, stare."
Oh, we care. We care a great deal. But their stares, their stares are like a fine wine that quenches our thirst. As many as we love, we rebuke and chasten. So they must be zealous in their attention to us. Is that not as it should be?
For you? Yes. You can hear the smile underneath her veil. And yet you are willing to let me be with you, even as you make your way among them.
I would have you nowhere else. Your worth is as dozens, hundreds of them. Why can't you remember that?
I am but a humble chemist. No one takes notice of me.
Well, perhaps we can do something to make you less humble in future. Would you care for some refreshments?
Absolutely.
Let's step inside here if you don't mind.
And it is a cute little tea shop. And, as you step in, it's like, it is not heavily populated. Like it's, maybe a different time of day, like where it's not quite, afternoon tea, but yet it is, it is busy enough that there are some patrons that will look up as you enter, and then some will stare, and then some will just avert their eyes as if it's just too much for them. Do you take a seat in the center with Hattie, or do you go into a corner?
I think they sort of pirouette a bit, spinning around the room, and then beckon for Hattie to follow to a table near where the service is, so as to get immediate attention.
Oh, it's very immediate. I mean, like you have someone at your elbow before you can even really sit down. How can I help you, sir?
Yes.
Ma'am.
What would you like, Hattie?
You kind of see, she nods at each thing that you say, but just like not as solidly as you might wish. So it's imperceptible to the serving person, and she will say, barely audibly, she'll say, "Tea is fine."
Yes, servant. We will have one of each with our tea.
Certainly, sir. Certainly, ma'am. And, bow and not actually like leave you, but like will kind of keep bowing and then back away as if he knows, like, whom he's in the presence of. And, we'll like leave you there for a little bit. Okay. Daymond, you are headed to Bethlem. It is regular looking during the day. It is sometimes surprisingly clean, other times not. The Bethlem Royal Hospital. Too many empty corridors, though. And there's a heavy blanket, even during the day, of quiet stillness. Paint the scene for everyone. Madness walks the streets, and so the patients are quiet. What do you hear in the silence that makes you fear exploring deeper within?
There's an occasional tink of steel. The sound of fingernails flicking against syringe needles. The little bubbles that form in the liquid below. Each time there's a tink, there's a bubbling and a gurgling, and a spurt as nurses prepare syringes full of medicine. Tink, bubble, spurt.
I think from somewhere in the depths of the building, we can hear someone muttering, reciting a verse from the Bible, and it's one of the particularly gruesome Old Testament ones. Lots of fire and brimstone and blood. And as they finish, they just give a little soft chuckle.
There's a sound of clanging. And at first, it seems like it might be coming from the pipes that run along the walls and the ceiling, because there's no covering them up, though, the water pipes, the gas pipes. But then you realize that it's somebody banging their head against the bars of their door, just over and over and over again.
And an attendant is stealing a moment of calm and relaxation, given that the patients are so unusually quiet, and enjoying a nip off of a metal flask. And they hear a sort of whisper at their ear and turn, and there's nothing there. And now a whisper at the other ear and turn. It's nothing again. And shake their head. Look at the flask. Shiver and get back to work.
As you enter into this intermittent silence, Daymond, I think there's someone that's dressed in a lab coat of sorts, with a head of luxurious silver hair coming down the hallway, and they are concentrating on reading the sheaf of papers in their hand, and like writing things down as he approaches. And I think as he gets closer, then I think he sees you there. Oh, hello. What are you here to visit? I am Dr. Rodney Walters. I am a physician here.
There are some that would call me Father Gray, but Daymond will suffice. I'm here looking for a pair of your patients. They are recent additions brought in due to the madness that is the play The King in Shadows. I believe one is a play critic.
Yes, Mr. Larkin Creel. Yes, indeed. Ah, yes. Fascinating, isn't it? Just these mass delusions that seem to be affecting people. Though they might be quite mad, I suspect there's method in it. Mr. Creel's unique deformity is unheard of, though. Mentally induced physical transformation. He starts to, talk to himself. It's a fascinating case, really. But you are here to visit, then? Are you
Yeah.
a family member?
No, I am not. Here for there are different ways of treating a patient. You treat the body and the mind. I am here for the soul.
Different angle on it. It might help the psychosis. I don't know if you can do anything about the physical changes, though, but
What are the physical transformations that you speak of?
it is something that could be quite shocking. I would hate to offend your sensibilities by showing you to Mr. Creel and having it be seen without any warning. Let's just say that the changes wrought have made it so his face looks like a mask.
Interesting. Do you know what sort of mask?
Do you go to the theater much, Mr. Gray?
When forced, yes.
If you are familiar with the sock and buskin, that is what he is beginning to resemble. If you do not think this will offend your sensibilities, I will be glad to bring you and have you speak with Mr. Creel and try to appeal to his spiritual nature, although from his ravings, I can't assume that that is close to the surface of his mind.
We will see what we can bring up to the surface. I do not believe that the sock and buskin will offend my sensibilities.
Don't say that I didn't warn you, then. And he will turn businesslike on his heel and have you follow him to one of the rooms with barely a window. It's like almost a mere slit, just for eyes to look out. And then before he opens it up, he'll say, again, just be warned. He is quite changed. He has told me that he has seen the play 5 times. Who's to say what further changes will be wrought if he had seen it yet another? Steel yourself.
And I will grasp at where the cross necklace is without pulling it out. Steeled.
And he will open up the door. Back at Roundley. In the chapel, Val has leaped up onto the stage, and Marybelle, you are out in the audience, or like amongst the seats, and then looking towards the stage, looking around, seeing if you can find anything, and what have you. And I think you'll hear somebody coming in from behind, coming into the room from behind you and saying, "Oh, you are from Hargrave House, right?"
Yes, I'm Marybelle. We are investigating this play.
Yes, I figured someone would be coming by soon. Strange things, aren't they? Just all these delusions, nightmares. All these things that have been happening because of this very odd play.
Have you seen the play?
I've got snippets and just bits. I'm Marie Litton. I'm the manager here, for this, and I was overseeing some of these renovations even before the play had found its way to our chapel. I really want this theater to work, but I'm worried that this very odd play is going to cause a scandal. I mean, there's already so many people suffering from its effects.
Why did you choose to allow such a play?
Of course, to be able to have a theater, you need capital, you need resources, and if they pay, you're naturally going to take any opportunity.
They paid you well, then.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was strange. The whole second act was just two people rowing an imaginary boat with imaginary oars down an imaginary river, occasionally punctuated by wailing from the chorus. I mean, Hamlet, it is not, but again, they paid, and they paid well. Will you be able to do anything about this? Will you and your colleagues be able to help with this strangeness?
I suppose that depends on whether or not you have any interesting or useful information for us.
There was... Again, the play itself is the oddest thing, and the more people would watch it, the more they would change. And some of the things that they would do or say were ramblings or scribblings of things that I thought were to remember the play for some strange reason, but I had found these, and she pulls out a sheaf of papers from her pocket, and there's a lot of them, and they are, give me a second, sorry, I'll pop in all the information later on, but it's a collection of handwritten notes regarding a fragrant void by someone called Atticus Whately. I don't know what this means. I'm not even sure who this Atticus Whately is. But this is from a collection of different people in the audience, or different people even out in the street who had seen the play. And they had scribbled these things and left them in the street for people to find. What do you think it means?
I wonder why they chose a play, of all things. You could entice people with music or dancing or stories or sermons. Why a play? Isn't a play just people pretending to be something they're not? To tell a story and have the audience believe it? Why choose that?
But it's so much more. You are performing. You are becoming. You are embodying these characters or these people that you are pretending to be. And in some ways, you become more of yourself when you do such a thing. Do your companions pretend to be anything other than what they are?
I do not know. Perhaps they do, and I have not seen it.
I mean, your companion up there, or they are more than what they appear to be, and yet always themselves. And while Marie has your attention, Marybelle, and refers to Val in that second, I think Val, as you're like searching up on the stage, you're trying to find signs of something, anything, to give you clues about where the King in Shadows play has gone. And I think in your shifting of things on the stage, I don't think you realize that the scaffolding is not very well done for some reason, and you maneuver a pipe or a beam in the wrong way, in the wrong place, and the camera starts to see like the top of it start to wobble as it starts to come apart and fall down, and all of it falls down around and on you, Val, as you are finding yourself unconscious on the stage, being knocked out by a bunch of pipes and beams from the scaffolding.
I'm tempted to let it stand, but I believe I will put on a mask.
Mask of the past, or again, you have a mask of dissociation, but everybody ends up doing it if you take that. And
I'm going to do a mask of the past.
Okay.
Or no, a mask of the future,
Okay.
which is a mask of the past. If you see what I mean.
No problem. Okay. So that doesn't happen. However, so as you're looking amongst the debris on the stage, as bare as it is, I mean, like, there's, a pile of trash here. There's, some framing that could have belonged to the play, kind of like in pieces in another corner. And I think as you look behind that, you actually see the repeating phrase, life imitates art, imitates life, imitates art, imitates on and on and on and on, scrolled on these beams of the framework. And they're not in neat lines. They're kind of like scrawled as if in a spiraling pattern diagonally on the beams, as if it wasn't level to begin with when someone had scrawled the phrase on it.
It could have been some time ago.
No, it looks fresh.
Mm.
Looks fresh.
I think Val will give that a curious look, and then, without realizing that Marybelle has now got company, they'll call out from behind the curtain at the side, at the wing of the stage. Marybelle, have you been to the theatre often before?
As they say that, sorry, I keep messing up the pronouns. As they say that, Marybelle, you're looking at Val, kind of coming out, or maybe still behind the screen on the stage, and you perceive them as moving eerily like an articulated doll for just a moment. That is your mastermind clue.
I believe this is my first time to the theater, Val. I can't remember if I've been to the theater. I feel like I have.
You have, but
Yeah.
like not the theater. It was
Yeah.
after the Shoreditch Slugger, amazingly enough.
Yeah.
After Bow Club.
Although I have not been to something quite like this.
I think Val will step out from behind the curtain. And is Marie still there?
Yes. Yes.
Do I recognize her from when I met her at the Naval College?
This isn't the same Marie.
I think Val will say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Marybelle. I didn't realize you had company."
This is the manager of the theater.
Marie Litton. Yes.
The play
pleasure.
gave her a great amount of money, you see.
Strange that normally such productions are rather short on funds, if anything. Is there a backer? Where does the money come from?
You'll think me quite odd for saying so, but we saw no backer. We only saw someone drop off a note with the money. Enough money. More than enough money to hold the play at Ranelagh for as long as it did, for a week or two. And then all of a sudden, it was gone. But it had enough time here to cause the effects that I'm sure everyone is suffering from. Have you experienced the dreams too?
I believe I felt something. Tell me, they dropped off cash?
Yes. Money in a bag.
Did you see them at all?
No. We were in the middle of renovations. I thought at first it was part of, well, something that the workmen had brought, but no. The note on the outside of it was addressed to me and said this play would be performing for a fortnight, and then this would be enough to cover the hosting of the play as well as money towards our renovations, towards our theatre.
I wonder, do you still have the note?
Unfortunately, I do not. When they had come in to perform, they asked me for it, and I did not think anything strange, so I gave it to them.
What did you spend the money on?
Well,
what here in the theater did you spend the money on?
You can see the scaffolding. They are in the midst of painting, repairing, and then they will build up this stage once they are finished with some of the basic repairs. And we can also admittedly spruce up the chapel as well, as it is the theater's only part of its usefulness.
Val, I wonder if the location chosen by this play was purposeful. Clearly, they found someone desperate enough to be able to be bribed. But perhaps it was something more. Maybe there was something particular about this location.
As you say that, Marybelle, I think, Val, you look on like a random wall opposite, And I think you're going to end up seeing what looks like some kind of strange sigil on the wall.
I will look over and examine it as I consider what Marybelle said.
It's indistinct, even in the dim light here of the basement. And yeah, it's, again, indistinct. It's kind of dark. It curls. It's jagged, but, you know, you can't tell what it is.
What's it drawn in? Is it carved? Is it marked on with some paint or something?
As you look at it, you can almost swear that it's a shadow cast by something else, but when you look opposite it, there's nothing there that could cast that kind of shadow.
I think you may be onto something, Marybelle. There is something about this place. If only Mr. Grey were here, I suspect he might be the sort of fellow who has some insight into this type of thing.
How are you feeling, Val, as you look around this place, seeing the sigil and trying to contemplate what you've heard?
I think Val is very much feeling that we are underground and the weight of the city is above us. And that's an unusual place, in their mind at least, for a play to be held in a buried.
Take the condition weight of the shadows. Let me head over to Kemuel. Kemuel, are you looking around, or are you going to try to talk to people while you're here in the cafe?
I think that they will actually just stand up from the table and walk to the center of the room and say, "Behold, we stand here in this place and speak. You that have ears and hear our voice, attend. If any here know of this pretender, this usurper, this king in shadows, and his eponymous play, we would bid you come and sup with us, that we may converse."
Information move with presence.
That is an 8.
As you say this, I think you get some kind of, like, you know, zoom in, zoom out effect. And the people in the cafe disappear, including Hattie. And then you find yourself back out on the street, walking towards the cafe with Hattie at your side. The streets of London, varied from decadent to destitute. The crowded ways have one street performer for every 10 people. A lattice work of labyrinthine alleys paint the scene for everyone, including Kemuel, as you walk the streets. What do you see that shows people trying to hide their true selves to better fit in?
There is a small shop. You wouldn't really know it's a shop. It's kind of just a door off to the side, almost on a side street. And you see men as they go in, pulling up their coat collars and pulling down their hats so people won't be able to see as they step inside. Just gentleman after gentleman. And nice clothes too, nice shoes. And when they come out, They step away from the shop and they remove their hat and toss their head slightly. The toupee shop. And these men are keeping it well in business.
We see a young woman walking down the street, and she is dressed very finely, but little do we, the observer, know that the dress she's wearing is her employer's, that she's borrowed for the afternoon without her employer's knowledge, and she is parading through the street, taking on the part of a well-to-do lady.
And we see a nun making her way across the cobblestones in her black habit, each hand tucked into the opposite sleeve of the other arm. And as she makes her way along, she catches her foot on one of the cobblestones and trips. And as she goes to catch herself with her hands, we get just the briefest glimpse. They're covered with blood. And she quickly collects herself and tucks them back in before continuing on her way.
At the end of this street sits a park. Unlike the rest of the street, there are no people in this park. There are just benches, and there are trees, and there are birds and flower gardens, but there are no people. Until you look closer, and then you see them. The poor, the destitute, the abandoned soldier. They are dressed in costume to be the tree, the bird, the bush. They hide in plain sight in an otherwise luxurious London street park. No one sees them. They have hidden too well.
So, Kemuel, you are back on the street, experiencing some deja vu. And Hattie says what she had said to you before, disbelieving why you'd want to be with her, a humble chemist.
Hattie, have you had any strange dreams of late?
And she will not look at you. You can tell, like, from underneath her veil, she's just kind of, like, turned away, as if there's something that she wants to say, but she doesn't want to let you know.
Because we had a very strange dream. We are unaccustomed to dreaming. And it was wretched. We were mocked. We were made to kneel.
That's impossible.
Hattie,
No one could make you kneel.
that is a relief. That's what we thought as well. Dreams are nonsense. Yes?
Yes. Although some could give hope. Some could have meaning to the dreamer. Just but a
What
nightmare
sort of-
for you.
Yes. What sort of dream might give hope?
She just shakes her head underneath her veil. Only those that give meaning to the dreamer, she repeats.
Meaning, we are familiar with meaning. Are you hungry at all? Would you care for some tea?
Yes. Tea sounds absolutely lovely.
Let's step in here.
And she'll follow. Daymond, you are being brought into Larkin Creel's room. And it is dim here. No light coming from any place except for the hallway. And you get a glimpse of tangled, dirty hair with a shock of white. Not as white as Dr. Walter's, of course, but it's... you see it kind of illuminated by the hallway light streaming in. And his face is turned away, although you can tell from this particular profile that it is not a regular profile anymore. And he seems to be wearing a straitjacket. And you hear that alternate laughing and wailing coming from this form in the corner in this room. Dr. Walters turns to you, Daymond, and says, "It is as I said. He is not all here anymore, whether that be from the physical change or from watching something so odd that it has addled his mind beyond help. I cannot say at the moment. Are you sure you want to do this?"
No one is beyond help. They may be beyond the help that the mundane are able to offer, but by his power, and Daymond will intentionally not point up, intentionally not pointing up when mentioning that. The supernatural can be achieved. The superhuman, that with which the mind cannot conceive. You simply need to open your mind to the possibilities, and it will happen.
If you can understand the source of this madness, if there
Yeah.
is source be found, then I offer up any help that I can give you.
Have you a small kneeling bench, like a church pew? Sorry. Small kneeling bench.
The best we can do is a small step stool.
That's
Pull
all
that
right.
on.
I think I've got one. And I would like to perform a rite of salt and smoke. It's as close to an exorcism as I think we're possibly going to get for the effect of banishing a spirit or curse from a person, object, or place it inhabits.
You can give it a shot, sure. What do you have to do?
Prepare the room, light a few candles, set up a small bench to kneel upon, which I will use as a personal quarters item, the personalized bench. And I will ask the good doctor to leave the room.
I don't know if I can countenance even this. Are you sure you're going to be all right? he could become violent.
You are welcome to stay if you promise not to comment on what it is you're about to see.
He thinks better of it, and I think he will say, I will wait outside.
Absolutely.
All right.
And
Offerings. Yep.
I would like to begin pulling at one of the threads, but rather than pulling it out, I would like to begin pulling it through the mask, as if I'm threading in the masks, binding his demons to mine, to exercise his.
When you come face to face with this, it is a half and half sock and buskin mask. But it is not a mask. It is his face that has changed and has almost shifted to create these features of the two masks melded together from his one face.
And with the thread pulled from my chest, I give his mask, I give his face that backing of a mask so that it can be removed. Without the backing of a mask, you cannot hope to remove it and see what is underneath.
Roll with sensitivity.
No.
What did you
Oh.
get? Please tell me what you got.
5-1-1 on the dice. Ah, I love them. With sensitivity, taking one away, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Got an 8.
An 8.
The
An
magic.
But
8.
you rolled a 5 and 2 1s.
Yes.
This is the advantage.
Using the pew.
So you take the top 2 highest.
Yes, 5
and then
1.
add
6. And then 2 from sensitivity is 8.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Just
magic
double
works.
checking.
Yeah, magic works imperfectly. Choose your effect and a complication.
Banish a spirit or curse from another person.
Complication.
I have no conditions. I will take a condition. People will tell me what it is.
As you're drawing the silver thread through his mask and getting ever closer, physically or even emotionally and mentally, I think you can hear the muttering as if he is sharing your face. And you are starting to say his words with your mouth as you're experiencing this as well, trying to bring it out, trying to draw out this madness, this spirit, what you perceive of the shadows. Down below in the vastness, gems and gold are glittering, unspeakable wealth, unknowable knowledge is reaching out for you, calling you home to him. Would that I could return to the cold embrace of the void, but the void has rejected me, and now I am truly alone. Down below, the inky vastness down below, but you can still return to the inky void vastness down below. You are drowning in the inky void. Your condition is return to the void. There is no spirit. Or at least, it's not something that you can perceive. And I think your dark entity will laugh at you a little bit. It's not there. All this is him. He is made himself mad with the visage of the Shadow King in his soul. There is no banishment that will take it away from him. He has taken it into himself.
Then let me see it within him.
Your dark entity will happily drag you down and see exactly what he was talking about. The void is wet and weighty and sticky and viscous. And it will draw you in, and it will pull you further into the madness that is living in Larkin Creel. Dame move, please. What do you think will happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
My first thought is too damning and would be for a night move. If I fail to resurface, Daymond will be unavailable until the night, where he will pop out on stage, nude for all to see, front and center in the King in Shadows.
Okay. Yeah, so this is definitely sensitivity.
Mhm. Eight.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Oh.
Because I slapped the condition on you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Disadvantage.
So it's a maximum of an 8. That's an 8.
Okay. Just checking. All right. So you keep it together. Tell me how you come out of it without, sinking in too deep.
There was...
What do you hold on to?
I hold on to the mask that Daymond attempted to take off of Larkin. The thread that binds me to him is still in me, pulling at it, causing more pain. The cries of agony using my own body as a rope to pull myself up and out through his eye, landing back in my own body. Is it kinder to kill Larkin? Not just yet.
Condition. Is it a kindness? Val, Marybelle, what else do you want to do here at Ranelagh? Or do you want to move along?
I don't think I have anything particular I want to do.
No.
Okay. If you make your way out of Renly Chapel, I think you're going to see someone out on the street. It's a it's an organ grinder who's kind of lanky, like thick waggly eyebrows with a walrus mustache. And he's carrying a barrel organ strapped to his torso and just cranks that thing as his monkey, a white capuchin, just kind of hangs out on top of it. The capuchin wears a tiny fez.
Val, do you intend on making Prince Rupert wear little outfits like that?
It had not crossed my mind. Marybelle, why do you ask?
Perhaps Prince Rupert would like a crown, similar to this creature's hat.
I think Val kind of half mutters under their breath. Perhaps then Prince Rupert should have stood his ground rather better. Then to...
One, come all, come listen to the song. Watch my little monkey dance.
I'll go up to him. Yeah. Well, perform then.
Farthing in the pot, eh? Come now, feed the monkey. Maybe fat, but, well, I assure you it's starving.
I do not have any monkey food.
No. Money. Money for the pot. So I
Your
can
monkey
get the
eats
food.
money.
No. And he just really takes a good look at you and says, money for the pot so I can buy food for my monkey.
Ah, I understand. And yeah, I think I'll toss in a couple of coins.
And he will crank the organ, the barrel organ, a little bit, and then like he kind of prods the monkey to do some kind of dancing, and the monkey will begrudgingly like get up a little bit, clap, and then shriek a little bit, and kind of almost like chirp and caw at you, for putting the money in the pot.
I think Val will just whisper in, well, not whisper like to hide it, but just so that only Marybelle will hear. A disappointing show. In my day, I have seen bears dance better than that.
Truly, that wasn't a very good performance. And I think I reach in to take my money back.
Day move. What do you think will happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
This guy's gonna make a huge spectacle of this.
Oh, yes, for sure.
But I think I'll be okay.
Day move with vitality, presence, what do you... Composure. Composure is a good one.
Yeah, composure sounds about right.
Okay.
That's a 7.
Okay. All right. So I think you do like, manage to get your money, but then he's going to like, call upon like, any passerbys. Oh, getting a show for free and then trying to take the money back, and like tries to make a spectacle of you by pointing you out and saying, like, just trying to make an honest living, and look what happens. Someone decides they're not good enough to be able to watch a show, and gets attention from many other people, all kind of like whispering and pointing and, saying, "Oi, put that money back. You paid him. Just let him have it. The monkey did whatever they did."
I think Val will step forward and actually toss maybe double as many coins into the basket and say, I'm terribly sorry. That's just a misunderstanding. My friend is unused to the customs of London, and I'll kind of try and smooth the situation over.
And, Grimaldo is all smiles again, and, you know, seeing the money, it's like the monkey will actually get up and maybe do a little jig on top of the organ as he plays, and then just kind of claps and shrieks at you like, ha ha. The monkey, not Grimaldo, sorry. Um, and I think, how do you feel about that, um, Marybelle? Seeing that Val put in twice as much as you did?
Confused.
Hmm.
Confused. I think that it's making me think back to the conversation with the theater manager, where she was offered a lot of money and she was able to turn her head for a while at something very strange and unusual and possibly wrong. And in this situation, where clearly Marybelle's right, that was a bad show and she deserves her money back. She deserves a refund, or they deserve a refund. And I think that it seems like there's unspoken rules when it comes to money, where money trumps everything.
Your condition is what is customary about coin?
I like it. That's a good one.
Damn. And Kemuel at the cafe. Yeah, you find the same situation happening in the cafe again. Some people look up, some people are like, referentially looking at you. The server comes up and like, will show you to a seat, actually not the same seat, and take your order, no problems, and you sense that Hattie is looking at you in awe. To command such attention and enjoy it, that is... I find you fascinating and amazing.
You have our attention.
And it burns with almost the light of a sun. She sounds almost sad.
And Kemuel will hold out their hand and say, will you touch the fire of the sun?
Can I, without having its flame consume me completely? And she slowly will raise one of her gloved hands and make as if she's going to touch yours, but it's very hesitant because she doesn't really know what it means. If she's allowed, if she, should.
They'll put their hand a little closer and say, the fear makes it interesting, no?
And it is fear that prevents me from completing my action. And she kind of limply lets her hand drop onto the table between you.
And I think Kemuel looks a little confused, maybe disappointed at that. And then just shouts, cakes for everyone. And a bag of coin to anyone who can speak to us about the gods damned king in shadows.
Oh, that's just so cool. I mean, I want to end there, but I don't. I mean, we still have time. That's the thing. Oh, information move. God damn it. All right, go for it. Presents.
Okay, presents. That is an 8 again.
What the hell is with all these 8s? Jesus. I mean, it's a mixed result. I mean, it's fine. Wow, what the hell? All right, hold on. King of Shadows. Okay. God be damned. King of Shadows. I love it. Oh my gosh. I think at that moment, as you pound down for cakes as well as information, I think there's a disheveled and disoriented member of parliament stumbling in and will, start from the door, from the people closest to the door, and go forward with everyone. And he has this strange light in his eyes, almost maddening or maddened light, and he keeps on asking each person that he will go to. He will say, "Have you seen it? Have you seen the strange thing? Have you seen it?" And he will come to you, and he will touch you, putting his hand on your shoulder and then one hand and the other hand on your hand. He'll say, "Have you seen it?" And he looks at you with wild eyes.
Seen what?
The play. I see it in my dreams. I see it in waking. I see it. It lives within me, in my mind. I go over it over and over. Have you seen it? Have you seen it yet?
And they'll turn to Hattie and say, "Are you finished with your tea?"
Yes. Yes.
And then Kemuel will stand and backhand this person, and then pick them up and hoist them over their shoulder and say, "Yes, Hattie, let us return to Hargrave House."
You're taking the member of parliament with you back to Hargrave House?
Or trying to.
Oh my gosh. All right, you got a clue out of them. Complications. I think when you try to go out and try to take this member of parliament, I think, "Oh, do I do this to you?" Yeah, sure. I think there's going to be some constabulary waiting outside. Seeing you with the member of parliament slung over your shoulder, they will cost you with their cautious or whatever, and say, "Hold it right there. Put the parliament member down. Keep your hands where we can see him."
He was raving, and we need to interrogate him. Move along, please.
Who the fucking hell are you?
Kemuel Robel. And my dear associate, Hattie Kemuel.
Now, mind you,
And
this
you
is...
are?
Yeah. So it's like he introduces himself as like, yay nameless, like, constable, because I can't think of one at the moment. So, yeah. And then he'll say, it's like, I don't care if you're my ass in my armpit. Put the parliament member down and you are coming with us. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that they're going to try to physically resist the coppers
Mm-hmm.
violently.
Oh, boy. Okay. Day move, please, with vitality. What do you think will happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
Uh, I guess they're afraid of getting arrested, or if
Are
not,
they really? Are
physically
they really?
accosted.
Right.
Maybe they're afraid of losing this clue that they've happened upon.
Hmm. Uh, hold on. Let me just check your sheet for half a mo. Do I hold that against you? Nah, it's fine. So, go ahead and roll, please, with day move with vitality.
That is a 7 plus 2. That's 9.
Well, at least we broke out of the 8 mode. Okay. So with a 9, you succeed. Maybe you lay out your opponents, because yeah, the constabulary are compared to you, like, bumbling and ungraceful. And yeah, just tell me what this looks like as you take them out.
Yeah,
Or
yeah. I think maybe they just after all this talk, that maybe as one goes to swing a kosh, Kemuel just sort of uh, with this fellow like bounced on his shoulder, sort of just again like almost dances out of the way so that the one constable smacks the other one in the face, and then they both sort of or Kemuel, they kind of reach out a toe and trip that fellow then, and they both sort of tumble to the stones, uh, and and Kemuel doesn't so much run off as much as sort of just slide away into this crowd that crosses.
mhm, mhm. And yeah, brain. Condition marked by constabulary.
Fair, very fair.
There might be some people knocking on Hargrave House's door in a bit. Oh man, too damn funny. Um, Daymond, what else do you do here at Bethlem?
As much as I'd like to go see the other patient, I think it's more important that I record what I can of the king in shadows from within the mind of Larkin. I grab the good doctor, and rather than explain anything, because that would be too simple, I pull a pen from his front pocket and his prescription pad and begin sketching what I saw in there.
Doing, man. What is this?
Note-taking.
Is this what he told you about?
He told me that he was driven mad by the visage of a king sitting atop his pile of gems. That the king has sent an army into his psyche and begun an invasion of the mind, not just his mind. These marching orders will spread across London. If this king cannot be stopped, a plague of mental instability will wash across London, enough to fill the halls of Bethlehem twice over. Now shush while I note. And I'd like to just making a sketch of what the king is before the vision gets pulled out of my skull.
I think maybe that's where we close, which is, the image that is drawn under Daymond's moving pencil, pen, whatever it is, and we start to see the image of some kind of inky dark with a face of hollows and mask and bony crown. And that's where we'll close the session for today. All right. So, yeah, we're not quite out of day phase just yet, or maybe we'll go right into dusk, starting next time, because there's stuff to do. And there's definitely stuff to do for this upcoming night phase. All right. You guys have already answered a question, so you can totally mark that on your sheet just to have it ready in advance once we get to dawn. We'll see. So, out of character, I just want to call upon the fact that we got a mastermind clue today, so we're at 6. 2 more to get to the 8. Now, I had a plan. I don't usually have a plan. I just come up with stuff. But I sort of have a plan to slow that down a little bit. But what that means, it's going to break a rule. And those of you that know me, it's like, I'm okay if it serves the fiction to break a rule. But I don't want to break it without asking you first if that's going to be okay.
Well, the last coffee chat that we had, the gauntlet, which was Sunday morning, Jason mentioned that he thinks that he wants to change the new mastermind rules. So instead of when you get mastermind clues, it's going to be after you have introduced X number of threats.
Good. Okay.
Which makes more sense, I think, time-wise,
Yes.
and would make more sense for our game too. So I think don't worry too much about that new mastermind clue rule, because it sounds like that's going to be changed because of playtests like this, where we're figuring out that it's a little too fast.
Yeah, I told him what we're going through right now, and then I also laid it out for him what we went through with Shadow Society, how many threats we went through, and the average on mine for all the series that I've done so far.
And then he's got his own mastermind playtest he's got going right now too. So I think the switching it up to being introduced by threats instead of by clues makes a lot more sense.
It really does. It really does. But did he give a number, or are we just taking a guess? Because
I don't remember if he gave a number. He just talked about it in an unofficial little chat. So we can bug him later.
Worst comes to worst, I follow my usual rule. So maybe not as much as 10, but maybe something more 7. I'll get in some of the things that I want to get in. And
7 sounds reasonable.
yeah. Yeah. I think so. Okay. Cool. That's good to know, because I was like, I had an idea for how I was gonna slow this shit down, but I mean, like, again, it was gonna definitely break a rule. So I was like, I better ask first. I don't want people to feel like, I'm trying to do this willy-nilly, because I'm not. But to me, it doesn't make much sense to be like, oh my god, we're like 2 mastermind clues away from being done, and I'm like, yeah. So, and I granted, I mean, like, I have long series, like, people hanging in with me for like 20 some odd episodes. I mean, yeah, that's a bit long. I get it, but yeah, I mean, like hanging in for like 10, that still seems like really quick, right? So, and we're on episode 7 right now. So, oof. All right. Anywho, stars and wishes. So stars are things that you appreciated about today's session and roleplay gameplay, and then wishes what you'd like to see for next time or the future. Yeah.
Do you want masks now, or do you want to hold them for next time?
Yes, that's true. You have a mask, don't you? Like, do you have a mask ready?
I do have a mask ready.
Okay, so read the prompt and then go ahead and give your mask. Sure.
Right, let me find the prompt. The mask of the future. Narrate a future in which you appreciate the extent that industry has changed London. What year is it? And be thinking about this, because take a keepsake, ask another hunter what it is, and then add it to your personal quarters. I had it written down where I had my mask written down. We see a busy London street. We hear the rumble of traffic and the hammering of a pneumatic drill. And above the street looms the concrete edifice of the Westway flyover. We zoom in on a young woman, neither particularly tall nor particularly short. She is wearing a green army surplus coat. A silk of short, thick blonde hair pokes from under an oversized blue beret. Her soft dark eyes are lined with kohl, and she's flicking through a rack of 7-inch records outside the front of a shop. She picks one out and examines it with a wry smile on her face. The sleeve shows 4 young men dressed in not very convincing facsimiles of medieval armor. One is carrying an anachronistic Union Jack flag. The title reads, The Swords of 1,000 Men. The young woman strolls down the road, flinching slightly at the sudden noise, and then gazing up as if in bemused wonder as a British Airways passenger jet passes overhead on its final descent into Heathrow Airport a few miles to the west. Rounding a corner, the woman looks up with a shout. Val! A young man, rather bohemian-looking in pleated trousers and unironed white shirt and a teased shock of black hair, is waving at her from a small group of people outside a cinema. Val trots over and the two exchange a kiss. Hi, Jerry. You're wearing my scarf, Val. How sweet. It's my scarf now. You gave it to me. Jerry laughs. What are we seeing? Val asks. It's called Time Bandits. Val laughs. What? It's supposed to be really good, Jerry says. Nothing. Val looks wistful. The title just struck me as funny as all. Why? Val sighs. It's a long story. I'll tell you sometime. Come on. The two turn to go inside. We pan across to a kiosk selling the London Evening Standard. The date shows 4th July 1981. The Prince of Wales is pictured with a shy-looking young woman he is due to marry in a few weeks.
Wow. Amazing. And Marybelle, hopefully we'll get your masks next time, okay? Alrighty. So, again, stars and wishes. Just looking over my notes, too, to see.
Oh,
I marked
yeah, I'm supposed to get a keepsake from that. From that mask, I forgot.
Who are you going to ask?
Who am I going to ask? Jeremy.
Jerry's military jacket. From a war both not yet fought and fought long ago.
Thank you. I took some notes for stars if no one else wants to jump in first. I was going to give a star for like the one that really jumped out to me was Kemuel's announcement that dreams are nonsense. I really love that. And also, I don't know, just Kemuel's general thing of like standing up and shouting, demanding to know that the king in shadows make himself known. And like I put something in the chat to the effect of like, you know, if anyone wants an example of like, what does the stat presence mean? That's like what that's presence. I really enjoyed Marybelle made this. I forget what exactly it was now, but Marybelle said something to the theatre manager that could totally be interpreted as a threat if you wanted to interpret something as a threat. I think I think it was Marybelle's kind of naivety, but it could have read as very threatening. I really liked Mark's paint scene with the workman eating his lunch. After, you know, that was a really great like turning of that vibe from like, weird into mundane. Mads is mad laughter by the man in Bedlam Hospital. And oh yeah, and one funny observation is I like that Mads keeps like misgendering Val in the opposite way that I do, which I guess that means I'm nailing the androgynous vibe. So perfect. And wishes. I know we don't want to rush through the mastermind, but I really thought when you said the name of Marie to Marybelle, I was like, oh my god, it's the same Marie from the naval hospital. This is like the mastermind coming, and so now I'm like super curious to know more about the mastermind.
I didn't take as many notes this time. Not that I take lots of notes anytime, but you know, the paint the scenes were really, really good. I think this whole this session, like there was such an interesting mix of really in-depth ones, but also ones that are lighthearted isn't really what I mean, but more light, and they all just nailed the theme. Oh, it was just, yeah, the paint the scenes were really, really good. I think this is a really good example of how those work in this session. So yay, everybody. I also really loved the Kemuel's dreams are nonsense. That killed me. I put it in chat that was the last thing I expected to happen in that conversation. And I literally was crying because I was laughing so much about that. That was so good. I like everything about Kemuel and Hattie. I think that's a really interesting relationship. And I'm terrified because of that, because I don't know what's going to happen. It's probably going to be something bad because this is the between. And bad things happen to our characters because they're bad. So I'm really looking forward to more of that, seeing how everything is going to come out of this situation. I also really loved the someone tell me about something about the play, the big yell. It was just such a great undeniable moment to just be like, why aren't people just giving me information like I'm expecting? It was really, really wonderful. I liked the interactions with Marybelle and Val today about being someone who you're not, and when it's not when or where it's appropriate. Why would people want to? And I think that ties really well into the King in Shadows stuff that was going on. The stuff about the greed, like that was just out of nowhere. That we ran with. But I think Val stepping in to give coin to the organ grinder, that was such a good Val moment. Like it's very oh, what's the word I'm looking for? My brain is not braining. It's already been a long week and it's only Monday. Um, well, it was very like chivalrous almost, you know, to do that, but also very patient and understanding with the world around Val. And I thought that was it was just a really cool moment. And I think it's going to really confuse Marybelle for a long time. So that'll be fun. The interactions, like the sort of in the mind interactions between Daymond and the guy whose name I just forgot, who is in the asylum. those were really cool, really well done, and really creepy, to the point where Jeremy, I didn't know what you were going to do in there. I had no idea what your next thing would be, what you were going to decide to do, what Daymond was going to do. And when you came out and you said, is it kinder to kill him? Ah, the fact that we have this character who's so deeply dark and deeply rooted in more evil type things, trying to figure out the kindest way to approach this situation. I think it's just a very, very good illustration of Daymond as we know him so far. So congratulations on that. That was great. Mads, the voices today were great. The evil laughter. I know Rob already said it, but I got to second that. That was great evil laughter. I liked the way that you presented the mystery was awesome, very theatrical, which is appropriate for the King in Shadows. But I think I really liked, there was one particular condition that you gave out, and that was the is it a kindness? That's a really good condition that could be played on in so many different ways. That is some awesome role play fodder. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. Yeah, this was fun. I guess my wish is for me to do my masks. I'm not doing them because Mads forgot or anything. I wasn't sure if I have the right ones or not. I forgot to check with Jack because I know that they changed some of them. So I just want to double check that I have the right ones. I meant to do it this weekend, but then I totally forgot. So I will have some masks for Marybelle written up by next session. Hopefully, we'll have some fun with it.
No worries. It's perfectly fine. I mean, I just wanted to call attention to the really great job of, like, somehow we went from Val and Marybelle going to being more of yourself versus being something else, to kind of, like, not call upon the strangeness or uniqueness of oneself. And that kept on going back and forth, like, through the whole entire session, which I thought was really interesting. So, I mean, like, this whole thing about Kemuel talking with Hattie, and then, Daymond in his own way, like, becoming, well, Damon's a whole different discussion, but again, I just want to just go back to that in a second. But I mean, again, dealing with, what's real and why theater. I mean, again, it was all these different little conversations that just kept on going into the theme or out of the theme of what is yourself? Are you becoming more of yourself, or are you trying to be something different? Are you trying to disguise it or hide it away? And then with Daymond, it's like I always get surprised because I'm always thinking, oh, he's like, really kind. He gave you guys gifts last time, but then now he's like just casually contemplating, like, killing this guy. Is it like, to be kind? Murder versus being kind about it. Wait, what? Yeah, so like kind of getting a little whiplash emotionally and mentally, like thinking about it. And it's just like, again, like all these characters have their own darkness. I mean, I'm scared. I'm scared of when Kemuel like fully comes out into their own and become like really dark. And the fallout when that happens, and like, how much will Hattie suffer because of it? Who knows? I don't know. And then Daymond being kind yet cruel, and then back again with this darkness inside you. I can't wait to see what this is going to look like. I mean, hopefully we get a chance to see it if we have enough threats to be able to carry this through. And Marybelle, you have like this inhumanity versus your humanity, and like I can't wait to keep seeing like how this dichotomy just kind of fights with itself and see how you develop. And Val is just so weird and mysterious because they're a person in and out of time, and how that affects you. You've got your principles, you have your vows, but I mean, how does that get interpreted throughout time? And do you stick with it, or do you bend it to suit your own needs or ends, depending on where you are or when you are? So I don't know. This is all fascinating to me. I mean, again, there was like some things that like people said that were really, really cool, but unfortunately I can't read my own handwriting because I take a lot of notes. And so therefore it's like, stars to everybody because there were some really brilliant things coming out of the characters today, and I really appreciated it. And wishes, yeah, just wanting to see more of this, like, people's masks, but not too fast, I hope, as well as the, getting through the threats. And I still have to come up with a servant. Like, who's the servant of the mastermind? I don't know. And yeah, just trying to give you more with the mastermind, and then kind of hurdling us, hopefully not too fast, to the end, right? So that's my hope.
Star to Mats. Before the recording began, you were concerned that you would not do this threat justice. And this was the beginning of the same threat that I know and love, King in Shadows, while being its own beast. You've made this one unique in a way that I hope you realize. And don't second guess yourself on those. It was fantastic. Star to Amanda, I know you mentioned the paint the scene questions, but your scene in the toupee shop was this delicate roller coaster where I wasn't sure where it was going to end up. And the moment that you said that it was a toupee shop, everything kind of clicked. This wasn't like, it looks dark and ominous from the outside, but it really isn't. And it was nice. It was nice to get something that I thought was going to go dark, stay in the light. Mark, in your initial scene where Kemuel's in the cafe, your dismissal of the servant as no one, while you sit next to someone who had been no one, who you elevated, was such a wild juxtaposition in trying to figure out what Kemuel finds beautiful. It's clearly not finding the little beauty in everything, and I'm very curious as to what it actually is. And a star to Rob. Bouncing the threat question back and forth off of you was a lot of fun. It was nice to build that answer together, and I hope that you will, or that Val will join Daymond in resolving this threat. As for wishes, 2 wishes, one more of a pledge. Rob and I have answered both of the threat questions by bouncing it off of each other. I don't want to do that for Shoreditch Slugger. As much as I enjoy the bouncing, I'd like to see what someone else comes up with for that one. At least not me. And I want a vulnerable move with Kemuel, not because it needs to happen, but because I want it to happen, entirely so I can ask Kemuel the question, have you ever had hope? Because your abandonment for that makes me question so many things. And I would like answers.
Yeah, I'm going last. I mostly echo everything that's been said already. In particular, a star for the answer question. That was really, really great. And especially the really cool way that threat needs to be resolved. I thought that was a really, really, will make for a really interesting night phase. And Jeremy, I love Daymond Gray. He's always willing, like if there's a cliff or a pit or a bridge, like he's always willing to dive in or jump off or like hurl himself into the void. And it's so fun and exciting to see. And again, that confidence that has been a recurring theme, it's just like it gives it such a really adventurous tone. And I love the now shush while I note. Rob, star for the mask that you narrated. That was so lovely. Just so rich with detail, and it's so fun and interesting to see Val in all these different manifestations, and each sort of with this rich emotional tenor and emotional life going on. Some common themes, but also very different from each other. It's really exciting to see. Amanda, I loved all of the winding sort of thoughts and contributions about the way that Marybelle interacts with money, or the notion of money, and how it felt like they were kind of exploring that. Talking about how the play produced this great amount of money, but what was it spent on? And then that being reflected back later with the organ grinder. It was interesting to see. You could really see the sort of literal gears turning as Marybelle's sort of trying to process this world that's alien to her. And Mads, the side character, you bring so much emotion and nuance and humanity to the side characters. It makes me as a player just sort of want to abandon whatever the mission is and just like explore them and find out what's going on with them and where they're at. It's a real delight. And I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, Wishes, I'm excited to see how Mean Times is resolved. And yeah, excited to see Kemuel continue to sort of descend.
Excellent. Oh my gosh. Such great work today. So, yeah, continuing onward for next time, we're going to start with Dusk Phase, and then, Marybelle, if you've got your masks, we'll go ahead and like go through those, and then we'll go into like Night Phase and then see how punchy that's going to get, because, you've essentially succeeded. Like with that role for Mean Times, it's like that could even be as short as a frickin' narration for each segment if you don't want to get too in the weeds, because like you're trying to deal with the other stuff that has to happen. And yeah, like I'm gonna try to get us through Night Phase for next time, and then push through Dawn into another day. Like we'll see how this goes. All right. So yeah, if there's nothing else, it's like, happy gaming for the rest of the week for all of you. And yeah, we're gonna see each other next time. All right. Always looking forward to this, playtesting anything and everything at this point. So like, let's have at it and let's have a good story, because these characters really deserve it. So I look forward to next Monday then. Alrighty, you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. See ya.